Excellent. It's a perfect example. And that's something that, shockingly enough, a lot of people have issues with these days because we're so used to being behind electronic equipment that coming up to someone face to face can be a little difficult at times. How about physical and manual? Andrew?
Being able to run like 4 miles.
That's a great one, which I think Stephanie is doing a great job of. She's running her little hiney. What about intellectual? How about starting to grasp the things that you're learning in class and actually being able to apply them? Yeah. All right, so the next one is managing emotions. What do you guys think? Kaylin's got this confused look on her face. What do you guys think an example of managing emotions? How about the way a student reacts when they violate a policy? How they handle it. When you confront them with an alcohol violation, they're partying, throwing a big party, they usually respond in 2 ways. One, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not mine. I just got here. I don't really live here. Or the other opposite of, you're right, we're sorry, we'll pour it out, the actual cooperative. Where do you think those would be on the managing emotions? Where would the first one be? If here was the beginning, here's the low end, here's the high end. The first response, they're not managing their emotions very well. They're not taking responsibility. The ones on the high end, taking responsibility. You know, when the kids come in for conduct hearings to sit down with and talk to us about the situations, we get the whole, you're right, the ones that are completely cooperative, they take responsibility for their actions and they accept the consequences. The others are like, why are you picking on me? You know, they get the defensive, and be surprised that does happen. So that's where you can tell where they're different moving on those. Now, just because you're high ahead on the managing emotions doesn't mean you're very high on competence. So you see what I mean when you can move fluently along these? Okay. So the next one is moving through autonomy towards interdependence. Who can kind of give a layman's term of what that is?
Being out by yourself, not relying on others, but on your own abilities and your own knowledge.
Right, and being able to take care of yourself. So it's very much of what students learn when they first leave home. Freshmen, they're like, sweet, we don't have any parents, we don't have a curfew, rock and roll. That's what happens the first semester. Then they realize, we have certain things that we have to get done here in college. So you really do, they usually start very low on this when the freedom reigns and they're set free into the world like the wild animals that they can be. But they learn very quickly, sometimes it takes them a very long time to learn that there are things that they need to do to be able to be successful and not waste, the $30,000 that they're spending in tuition. Okay, so they're taking responsibility for their own goals and really starting to make decisions on their own and taking care of themselves. They're not reliant on mom and dad. However, you are the millennial generation, and I bless you, but you call mom and dad a lot. Not gonna lie, totally called my mom and dad this morning. Got the phone call? Okay, I need to talk. So, I mean, it happens. So, and that's okay. But at some point, you'll start learning to make decisions on your own, and 95% of the decisions I make, I don't consult my parents, but I do when it's important, like that. So, the next one is developing mature interpersonal relationships. What do you think that means? Anyone? Yes, ma'am.
When roommates can handle their own roommate conflicts.
Excellent.
Each other and other people's personal spaces.
Excellent. Excellent point. One of the biggest things and why I believe in residence life programs is because you do more learning outside of the classroom than you do inside the classroom when you live on campus. When you live off campus, you miss those opportunities to interact with different types of people. You come in God only knows, the first week of school, we get phone calls, oh, my daughter lives with such and such, and I just don't think she can live with her for certain reasons. Okay, well, we don't have the space to move them, so they're gonna have to work it out. And we help them work it out and learn how to learn from each other. However, sometimes that doesn't always work. But they come in not really knowing different types of people, and they end up leaving college, being able to work with different types of people, different kinds, like different personalities. It's kind of, you throw yourself into the big mixing bowl, and you have to learn how to deal with your roommates. Because if not, then that leads to trouble, and you get to sit with us, and then we make you learn. So it's one of those things that you really start to learn. The more exposure you get to different types of people, the better it is, because you'll really start to learn. Now, would you get that if you lived across the street on the other side of 11th? You lived in a little house? Would you get that if you just came to campus for a frat party? Probably not. Can guarantee you probably not. So that's one of the things that's really important, is that we provide those opportunities for students to interact with each other on a constructive basis and learn how to handle and deal and interact and communicate. Okay? So then we have establishing identity. Caitlin.
Well, a lot of students, when they come to school, they think they know their identity, but they go through a lot of trial and error through college, and they might
Yes. I was exactly this way. I was like textbook. Moved along this vector very quickly. I was an older student when I went away to college. I did 4 or 5 years at community college before I went away to school. So I was 22, 23 when I went away to school and moved into the residence halls, into upperclassmen floor. And, you know, I'd been used to living very close to mom and dad, and I'd been sick when I was younger, so that's why I had to stay close. I go away to school in Emporia State. I'm like, sweet, I finally made it. This is gonna be awesome. Boy, did I learn who I was. I learned very quickly how to take care of myself, what my beliefs were, what my morals were, what I thought was right and wrong, what I enjoyed doing. It was like a real eye-opening. And how many upperclassmen had that experience your first year? Exactly. That's when you really kind of start learning, oh, this is what I really want to do in life. How many of you changed your major at least once? Exactly. I changed mine 5 times, maybe. 5 to 8, actually, but we won't go there. So it's really that first year and throughout the years is very important, because that's when you really start to learn who you are as a person outside of your cohesive family that you grew up living with. You know, you're on your own. You don't have your brothers and sisters around. You don't have your dogs. Mom and dad aren't always there to look down your back. So it's very liberating. But then also that comes with your competence and your mature interpersonal relationships. And thus you see where we go with the different vectors. See? Yeah. Looking at me like I'm nuts. So then we've got developing purpose. What do you guys think that is? If you've been working on establishing your identity, developing your interpersonal relationships, your competence, what's your purpose in life?
Determine where you want to go,
Exactly.
what your goals are, what you want to eventually achieve.
Right. How many people thought they knew what they were coming into, or they knew what their major was going to be when they got here and they were going to stick it all the way through? You're still underclassmen. Talk to me when you're a senior, and if you've done it, I'm very proud of you, because that's very rare that people don't kind of fluctuate. It is very rare that people don't know that know what they're going to come into college and go to school for straight through. Like medical school, some people know they're going to be a doctor, that kind of stuff, but you know, the undecided major, sometimes they don't choose that until sophomore or junior year. So oddly enough, I don't know how that works with classes. But really, developing purpose is really what kind of impact you want to make on your environment and the world. What do you want your purpose to be? Who do you want to be able to influence? That kind of stuff. Okay? And then the last one, developing integrity. What does that mean? You, sir, the gray. That's you.